Hey there, PT and PTA students. Welcome back to Studying with Stephanie. Today we're going to continue on our segment of neuro, and we're going to talk about the dorsal column medial lemniscus. So what is the DCML for short? Well, it is a sensory pathway that detects sensory information from within our skin, our joints, and our musculotendinous areas, sends that signal up through the spinal cord, up into the brain so that our brain can detect what the signal is and then give a response. So let's talk about the intricacies here. When I am thinking of any spinal cord pathway, I like to think of a delivery truck driver. So the delivery truck driver is carrying a certain kind of signal, which is what our nerves do. The delivery truck driver is going to make a couple different stops along the way, which we call a synapse. And then sometimes the delivery truck driver has to merge onto different freeways or into different lanes, where we're going to call a crossover from one side to the other side so that the image or that sensation can get read in different parts of the brain and the body. So let's get into it. Like I said, the dorsal column medial lemniscus is going to get sensory information from our skin, our joints, and our musculotendinous regions. It is going to sense fine touch, proprioception, and vibration signals. What's going to happen is when that sensation comes through, that truck driver is going to carry that signal from the area. So let's say it's carrying it from our arm. It's going to carry that signal in through our dorsal root. So we know VEM-DOS, ventral efferent motor, dorsal afferent sensory. So afferent, we're traveling from the periphery up to the brain, and this is going to be a sensory. So it's going to go through the dorsal aspect of the spinal cord. So that truck driver is now carrying fine touch, proprioception, or vibration into the spinal cord through the dorsal root. It is en route and it's going to travel through the dorsal root into the fasciculus cuneatus or the fasciculus gracilis. Since we're talking about the arm in this situation, we are going to go through the fasciculus cuneatus. A way for me to remember fasciculus cuneatus does the upper extremities and the trunk is because C comes before G. So when I'm looking at the dorsal column, the C is on the outer aspect of that dorsal column. So the cuneatus signals are going to go through the C, and that's going to be the arms and the upper body. Same thing when I'm looking at the body. Because the arms are above the legs, C comes before G. So this signal is now going to travel in through the dorsal root, through the fasciculus cuneatus, and it's going to go up all the way until it gets to the brainstem. Now, in the brainstem, specifically the medulla, this truck driver is going to make its first drop off. So a synapse is going to occur in the medulla oblongata, in the nucleus cuneatus, again because we're talking about the upper extremity in this situation. If it was the lower extremity, that synapse would occur in the nucleus gracilis. So again, super simple when it comes to how they name these structures. DCML is the dorsal column, so it's going through the dorsal column, medial lemniscus, and then there is the fasciculus cuneatus and gracilis as well as the nucleus cuneatus and gracilis. So that's where it's going to synapse in those nuclei. Then what's going to happen is that truck driver dropped off in the nucleus cuneatus in this situation, and now he's going to merge onto a different freeway. So that is going to happen. We're going to go to the opposite side now. So it's going to merge and it's going to switch over to the opposite side of that spinal cord there in the medulla. And as this happens, once we get a crossover, that truck driver is going to go through a tunnel, and that tunnel is called the medial lemniscus. So dorsal column, medial lemniscus. That truck driver is going to travel through the medial lemniscus. Now we're on the opposite side of the body, and it's going to travel all the way up into the thalamus where they're going to have the second drop off. Now, anytime we are talking about the nerves and the synapses, the order of the neurons. So the first order neuron is going to be where that initial signal comes in through, and that first delivery route. So that first order neuron was from the skin or the muscle or the joint through the dorsal root up through the fasciculus cuneatus until we got to the medulla and we synapsed at that nucleus cuneatus. So once that synapse happens, that first order neuron now is changed to that second order neuron. So we're on the second part of our delivery route. Again, we went from the nucleus cuneatus through to the other side of the medulla, and then we traveled through a tunnel, which is called the medial lemniscus, on the other side of the body. We went up through the medial lemniscus and we synapsed again. We had our second drop off in the thalamus. Now, the thalamus itself is essentially the relay center, and this is where the information from the spinal cord is going to get deferred to what specific parts of the brain that it needs to go to. So we have our second drop off from our second order neuron into the thalamus. And from the thalamus, the truck driver has its final delivery to go to, and that delivery is going to be to the primary somatosensory cortex of the brain. So that truck driver now has gone through its third route, the third order neuron, into the primary somatosensory cortex of the brain, and it's gotten its final drop off. And what's going to happen here is the brain is now going to read these signals. What is the sensation trying to tell me, and do I need to respond? From there, the brain is going to decide whether or not it needs to respond, and then it would send a motor signal if need be. But that is the dorsal column medial lemniscus in a nutshell. So we go through our order of neurons, and again, we relate that to each delivery route. And again, the truck driver can go on different freeways, having to merge and go through tunnels. So if you think about any type of spinal cord pathway as a truck driver with delivery routes, it makes it so much easier to conceptualize. I hope that this video helped you. If it did, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, and if there's anything you want me to go over in follow-up videos, please drop it in the comments below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.